G'day, folks. The gentleman we have with us today needs no introduction. Over his 7-decade career, and yes, I said 7 decades, actually coming up upon 8, he's had a profound and lasting impact on patients, on healthcare, on our industry, on many leaders in healthcare, and on innovation worldwide. He is a complex man with a remarkable track record of accomplishment. This we will explore in another project that we have going. Today, however, as we near the end of another year, a trying year at that, I'd like to have a meaningful chat about a couple of themes that I find compelling, and I hope you do too. So welcome, Dr. Tom Fogarty, surgeon, entrepreneur, winemaker, and mentor to me and to so many other healthcare entrepreneurs and healthcare leaders throughout the world. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you for the law of lying.
Remember, you employ me. So I want to touch on just a couple of themes, if that's okay. The first one is battling through adversity. Your early days in Cincinnati were tough. Unfortunately, you lost your father early. You began work in your early teens to help support your family. How do you believe this shaped your life?
Very significantly. I don't think I'd be where I am now if it had not been for that early experience. And my first mentor was my mother. Mm-hmm. And she was tough. And she wasn't mean, but she was very tough. And misbehaving was not a very smart thing to do. I learned after many, many strappings, as we called it. And so anyway, she really kept me in mind.
And it was that time that sort of bred your inner toughness?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think that then leads into this next question. Most wouldn't know, though I'm sure it might explain a lot, that you were a semi-pro boxer. Did you learn your famed combativeness from your boxing career, or did you enjoy boxing because of your combativeness?
Both.
All right, you got to give me more than that. What do you mean?
Well, I think it was enjoyable. That's number one. But to be enjoyable, you have to win. Mm-hmm. So I focused on always winning. And it was a positive attitude to have for a guy that was undersized for his age. Mm-hmm. So I learned to box really quite well. And they didn't mess with me.
So you learned early to stand up for yourself, to stand up for what you believed.
Absolutely.
And that was part of the culture, or that is what you learned?
I think that's what I learned. Mm-hmm. But it may be part of the Irish culture.
Absolutely.
They call them the Fighting Irish, as you know.
I thought that was just the Notre Dame football team.
Fogarty means fugitive in Gaelic.
Yeah, or felon, right?
Fugitive or felon, either one. No, it's true.
Yeah, I know. I've heard you actually say that a few times, but that seems to resonate with you. Why? Why does that? Why do you?
It's part of my culture.
Yeah, it's part of who you are.
Heritage, you know. Yeah.
Okay. So in the early days, I want to. There's another time point that I think your willingness to stand up for yourself, your willingness to stand up for what's right, really became important. It actually became impactful for where we are today. So in the early days of the embolectomy catheter.
Yes.
Right, you'd done that series of human patients. You with Jack Cranley.
Yes.
We'll talk about him in a little while.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get that groundbreaking work published.
That's
so
true.
You were running up against the establishment.
Yes.
Why? I think this is really important for young folks out there. You're actually coming up against the clinical establishment here.
Yes.
Why did you persevere, and how did you persevere?
Well, it's really because of Jack Cranley. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cranley recognized it worked. And he encouraged me to continue no matter what. He helped me get in touch with an intellectual property attorney. I didn't know what the hell an intellectual property attorney was. But he says, Tom, this is valuable. patented.
Mhm.
Well, this is an interesting story about that because I didn't have any money, but Jack Cranley introduced me to an attorney in Cincinnati, and I went and talked to the attorney, and I told him, I don't have any money. He said, well, this has never happened again. When you get some money, pay me something.
Mhm.
I said, sure.
And did you pay him back?
I certainly did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I do have to say, this is, given where we are in our early stage medtech, we see group companies like Wilson Sonsini actually provide some of these early services pro bono. So they're learning from those experiences. With the hope that they get paid back eventually, but they are doing that work, which is good to see.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to go back to not just the IP element of that, but you're coming up against the establishment, right? There's, what were their arguments as to what was wrong with this approach?
Well, the surgical community is a very interesting group. Do no harm is something that they teach us all the time. Well, it's a good thing you don't want to do any harm. But at the same time, sometimes you have to change in order to be successful. But they don't have that mentality. They just keep doing the same thing over and over again, or they make a small iterative change, but no significant change. And that really makes sense because, if you violate standard of care, you're going to get sued.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you do with a new technology is you challenge the standard of care. And you're bound to lose if something bad happens.
So why, and that defines what we do, right?
Yeah.
That if we stick to the status quo,
Yeah.
we'll never change.
That's right.
So why, where did this come from? Where was this bravery, this courage to try and do something different? What drove you?
Well, I was a scrub technician.
Mm-hmm.
You had the instruments. I became a scrub technician. I think it was my sophomore year in high school. I graduated up to the OR, where I cleaned instruments and ran the autoclave in the operating room.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to know a lot about the instrumentation, and I saw a lot of surgery. And I saw what worked, what didn't work. And so I had insights at a very young age.
Mm-hmm.
And, Dr. Cranley was one of the few people that had some concept that I may have some smarts, And, he just encouraged, no, Tom, this will work. I'll help you. And he did.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things we had to do, he made me do. And we did animal studies. He had his own animal lab in a private hospital. And we did the animal studies. We did the cadaver studies. And so very early, I was aware of the process that you should go through in order to introduce a new technology.
Mm-hmm.
Still keeping do no harm in mind. But at the same time, you have to challenge the standards. So it's kind of a difficult thing. But the fact is, even for me, I saw this thing I did worked. I was a scrub technician. I just saw what I created. He used it. Worked, so it gave me great confidence, not just me, but Dr. Cranley mostly said, no, we're doing the right thing, Tom. Keep going.
Okay. So it's always this balance between safety or do no harm.
Yes.
And then introducing something where you do have to test it. You have to experiment, right? But so you've, in this early experience with the catheter,
Yes.
you've seen incredibly high mortality in the folks who have been treated using the standard of care.
Yes.
You've now seen some compelling initial results, but they're in 12 patients or 20 patients, a small handful of patients, right?
Oh, 8 or something.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
What gave you, how are you, Tom Fogarty, scrub tech, standing up against the clinical establishment? Was it because you believed you'd found something that was right, that worked?
Well, somebody else did too. Cranley. And Cranley knew the editor of a journal called SGNO, Surgery, Gynecology, and Obstetrics. Every other journal, major journal, turned it down. SGNO was new, and he said, Tom, let's put it in here. Well, I think it was a page and a half with one illustration. It got accepted. So that was the first publication, but I think it was really 3 years it took to get the damn thing accepted. And it was only through Dr. Cranley's connection with SGNO that we got that thing published.
Yeah, good. So he's leveraging his credibility and his authority to be able to get that through. And I think that's going to become important in a couple of moments when we talk about mentoring.
Most of the times, somebody that young is not the first on the paper's name. He made sure my name was first.
Yeah. Again, something that we should touch on in a moment when we get to the mentoring, because I think that's in a very important discussion. Again, of things that you've taught others, you've definitely taught me, which is recognition and making sure that the recognition goes where it's deserved.
Yes.
So I want to go back to that second theme, Tom, is tinkering or curiosity. You have, from hanging out with you for a while, you have an innate sense of curiosity. Do you think that that's been a driving factor in your career, the success and the many accomplishments?
Absolutely.
So why? Why do you?
If you can't imagine something, you can't create it.
Yeah.
But if you imagine something and start to try to create, there's where you move. So, I was always very curious about why something did what it did. At a very early age.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you then, but you got to tell the story right now. I wasn't going to do this. We're going to do this in the other project we're doing, but the curiosity element just came back to a story you told me about how you came up with the design of the centrifugal clutch.
Yeah.
Right? How did you learn? What was the motivating event for you to come up with that?
A need.
Yeah, a need. Good. By design, a need.
Yeah.
But what was it?
No, neighborhood I was brought up in was a kind of half-ass neighborhood. It wasn't quite bad, wasn't very good, somewhere in between. But anyway, and most of the kids were disadvantaged. But the issues that you had to deal with in that environment required you to do things differently if you're going to survive. There was a kid in the 8th grade with me by the name of Pinhead. And he was really a wonderful guy and a person. But he was so geekish that everybody ignored him. And, and then one day some kids were beating up on him, and I came along and didn't like what I was seeing, so I intervened and they quit. But it gets on to becoming a friendship. He was the only kid in the neighborhood that had any family that was wealthy. His dad was a dentist, and they had money. And Pinhead got a scooter.
Yep.
motor scooter, Cushman. And it was a two-seater, him and then me in the back. And when you would go up a hill, you had to shift into low to get up the hill. Well, it would just lurch ahead, and you would find yourself sliding off the end of the thing.
So the passenger, you're sitting behind him, get bumped off the back.
Bumped off, and it was absolutely consistent. And, sometimes I'd grab onto Pinhead, and then both of us would end up on the, street. But anyway, so the concept was we got to learn how to have this work so it's a smooth transition.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a job in a small motor shop cleaning up after the guys were finished with the lathes and all the machinery stuff. And they taught me how to use some of the machinery. And so Pinhead more than me, really was the guy that said, look, if we do this, so it'll do it slow. And so the centrifugal part, if you spin a wheel, it tends to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we did.
Yeah, all you did. How old were you? Teens, right?
Teens,
Young
yeah.
teens. And you guys, or you, invented the centrifugal clutch that is used today,
Yeah.
still today,
Yeah.
in many two-stroke engines and golf carts and everything else.
Yeah.
12 years old.
Yeah.
Most 12-year-olds sort of do those sorts of things, Tom. So yeah, I don't want to, you're 80 plus years old, almost moving into your 10th decade here, and you're still curious. We were talking about, you wanted to deck out, I should say, your garage as a machine shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, really? Why are you still a tinkerer?
I like to create things.
Mm-hmm.
Or fix things.
Why?
I don't know. I've done it all my life.
Mm-hmm. Just who you are, right?
Yeah.
And that's there's sense of enjoyment or fulfillment from doing that?
Both.
Yeah, cool. All right, the big thing, I think, and it's come through in this discussion a lot, is mentoring.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned your mother
Yeah.
being one of the key mentors in your life.
Yeah.
I've mentioned, and you've mentioned Jack Cranley
Yeah.
as being a key mentor in your life. Would you like to share, what did you know you were being mentoring at the time, being mentored, I should say, at the time by Cranley? What did you see in that relationship then?
Well, I didn't see it as that. What I saw in Dr. Crenny is a wonderful person who's willing to help me to my goal.
Mm-hmm.
And, really tutor me along the way.
Did you know it at the time, or did you feel it?
I felt it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a couple of the things you've said, right? So I'm trying to work out what makes a good mentor. So this guy did it without, because he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He wanted to help you.
Yeah.
He genuinely wanted to help you develop.
Yeah.
He didn't, he used his authority where it was necessary. And by that, I mean, it would have been very hard for you to battle to get this paper published, which would have been the beginning of the balloon catheter, which has then spawned, to where we are today with minimally invasive surgery and balloon caths and balloon valves and everything else. So I think throughout, look, I know we're only talking about two people, your mum and Dr. Cranley as being mentors. I guarantee you've had many mentors, Shumway, all the others throughout your career.
Yeah.
What do you think makes a good mentor?
A person who's very, very caring about some objectives.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be a worthy objective.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get to is that throughout all of our careers,
Yes.
we're impacted by everyone that's around us, but
Yes.
there are a special few who take the time to help.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm trying to get across here is that anyone can be a mentor, right? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
anyone.
No, they can. Yeah.
As long as they care about the person they're trying to mentor.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that so you agree that anyone
I
can?
agree absolutely.
And I totally agree with you that folks that you can watch, and I've had a few in my career where I've learned what not to do.
Yeah, that's right.
And that can be
Or what
incredibly
not to be.
powerful.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want to call them mentors, but they've impacted my life, my career.
Yes.
But the folks that I would call mentors, and like I was saying, we're touching on just a couple for you, but they cared about you.
Yeah.
And they cared about your development. And they were able to use their networks, their authority, right? Because
Yeah.
in sometimes to be able to get things done for you. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been clear in the discussions that we've had over the last decades, a couple of decades, that mentoring is huge to you.
Yeah.
Right. And so you then, right at the sort of, as you were finishing practice, right, you founded Fogarty Institute.
Yes. Yeah.
Why? What was the purpose of this?
To improve healthcare, innovation, real simple.
Yep.
Because if I look back on my career, that's what I've done. I enjoyed doing it.
So we're trying to produce more Tom Fogartys?
I guess so.
Yeah.
God forbid.
I'm not sure we could do it too many more. But that's, a couple of things that you've said, and I quote these days. Innovation is best learned by doing.
Yes.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Well, you have to experience some things in order for it to come to life. And you have to do it. And that's really true when you're developing a technology. You can't let somebody else just do it or hire somebody to do it for you. You have to do it yourself.
And do you think you have a special skill in doing that? What is your skill? What's your superpower?
I don't know.
But you have one, right? You don't accomplish what you've accomplished without having a superpower.
Well, I'm persistent.
Yep.
And I try to identify good people to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to give them leeway. I don't want to just push them around, tell them what to do. And particularly in the field of medical devices, you need a team. If you don't have a team, you're not going to get to work. You need teams that are from different backgrounds. To surround yourself with a bunch of doctors and expect to develop anything ain't going to happen.
What do you need?
Well, you need engineers of different kinds for different reasons and for different purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And you need people that are very straightforward and are aligned with what you're trying to accomplish. And I try to figure out, is this guy just trying to do this to make money? Is he trying to do this for what reasons? And are they appropriate reasons? And not that I'm going to be stupid about it. I'm certainly interested in money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you focus on that to the exclusion of other things, you do shortcuts that are not going to work.
What should you focus on?
Making it work.
Making it work, no harm.
No harm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
every conversation we have, it always comes up. Patient first, right?
Yeah.
Solve the problem.
Yeah, solve the problem. If you do that, you'll benefit.
Yeah, if you do that well,
Yeah.
and you do that in a way that is efficient, you'll do well.
Yeah, very well. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, which you have done. Why do you have the sense of humor you have? No, seriously, you start off most interactions with anybody, and I guarantee anybody that's had the opportunity to meet with Tom, there is a dig, there is something that comes out first, right? Why is that? That's just your style?
That's my style.
So you get back to your Irish roots before being as a rationale for your combativeness? Is it a rationale for your sense of humor?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think that the sense of humor is it innate, or is it a mechanism?
No, I think it's innate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, as combative as you appear to be, sometimes you're actually a fun dude to hang out with. All right. Part of this was just themes. So it's end of the year. It's been a pretty tough year. Last year was a tough year. It's time to, take stock of ourselves.
Yeah.
What's your proudest achievement? You've accomplished so many things. Do you have a proudest achievement, or are there infinite numbers of things?
Well, there's an infinite number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think my proudest achievement is I've been able to get along with most people. Sometimes I can be rough around the edges. And sometimes I shouldn't be, but I do. But I'm proud of the fact that I'm always focusing on making whatever situation I'm in, making it better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the help of others. That's why I love medical technology. Get people doing things, making things better. You're in unison. You do it. It's great. If it works, you help patients, and you may make a little money.
Yeah.
No better way.
Yeah, great. I think that's a great summary. What do you want this place to become?
What it's becoming.
And what is it becoming?
It's becoming really a very, very good startup effort in the field of medical. Yeah, that's what.
Cool. Yeah, that's good for me.
Yeah.
Know that the boss has got us happy with the direction we're going in.
I'm very happy, actually.
All right, we probably don't want to go too far down that path, but so hopefully we got a lot of folks out there who are watching this, who are innovators, who are young entrepreneurs. If you could tell them a couple of things, couple of things, what would you tell them now after? Seriously, it's over 70 years of experience in what I will call healthcare.
Well, after 70 years in healthcare, I'm still learning.
Yep.
No, I'm dead serious about that. There's so much to learn, so many things to do. But the learning is not just in medicine. It's in these different areas.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn business. You have to make commitments and sacrifices. You have to understand that, when somebody says, well, we'll get this done in 2 years, depending on what it is, there are many things you're going to get done in 2 years. It's going to take time, effort, and mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, and mistake is just a learning curve that you have to go through. You just got to be careful how many you make and how big a mistake and what it costs you. Mm-hmm. Listen to others, and for a lot of, particularly surgeons, that's hard to do. So anyway, it's just these kinds of lessons you only learn by being involved.
I mean, love spending time talking with you. Thank you. It is coming up to the holiday season. Anything you'd like to say to folks?
Goodbye.
I'll leave it from me. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you. I hope you learned and took away one gem or many from this. Thanks very much.
Goodbye. Happy holidays.
We tried. Right. From the Fogarty team to your families, have a happy holiday season. We love you. Thanks. Love you, man. Got to get us one day on a bar stool where I can be leaning forward.
Sure.
You're getting the best aspect of me, not the worst aspect.
I don't think you have a good aspect. So,